Welcome to Flashback Tracks. Travel back in time each Friday to an era of big hair, leg warmers, and Walkmans.
Far out.
Veg out with some clips from Downtime Broadcasting's promotional audio cassette magazine from the 80s and 90s, right here on the World Wide Web.
Formal training in specialty advertising. Comments from Terry Dodd. Webster says of training that it is subjecting oneself to a special course of regimen for a particular feat. Formal is defined as being according to a regular method. I've heard many distributors and salespeople as well say that for their sales role in specialty advertising, they've had no formal training. Now, some say this in a sense that expresses a desire for continuing sales education. Others wear it almost as a mantle of pride, saying, in effect, I've achieved my success in spite of my training. Probably the most consistent and significant training in the industry over the past 20 to 30 years has come from the direct houses. And with the individual mobility that's typical of most fields of business, the large direct houses have effectively, although certainly not deliberately, provided excellent formal training for many, many industry distributors. Success, Terry says, is objectively measured by sales, profits, and reputation for the many more distributors who have been largely self-taught. These distributors have been trained just as surely as those with the direct houses. Through trial and error, a special course of regimen has been developed and continued by these sellers and their salespeople. By definition, they have thus provided themselves with formal training. And the lessons of that self-acquired training are usually passed on to others who become part of their operation. For people who are strongly motivated and self-disciplined, the formality of their training is of little relevance in the end. They may, of course, feel more comfortable with direction and alternatives in the early going, and which, if available, positively adds to their already high degree of self-confidence. Those with less of a facility for self-guidance find their bearings to come much more from a combination of interest on the part of others as to their progress and some sort of structured training. Interestingly, Terry finds many who perceive their formal training as less than they would have liked seem to make up for this lack after success is well on its way towards recognizing the effectiveness of their methods. Perhaps this continuing education and training then becomes more symbolic than a true bottom-line contribution in their case. And that is probably just as valuable. Many of these lessons, however, serve not only to reinforce ideas and concepts, if not specific methods, but also add a personal resource which can be passed on in one form or another. Formal training is always gotten by a successful distributor or salesperson, whether structured or by trial and error, but always on the job.
Travel back in time with us next Friday as we share more clips from the 80s and 90s on another rad episode of Flashback Tracks, exclusively on Promo Corner. Time to bounce.